intelligence as you have let another people define intelligence as the ability to solve their problems, not your own, their problems. They then call you intelligent when you can behave and think in a way that adds to their power and maintains their position in the world. Then you're intelligent. Then you have good character. You understand? I want you to think about what I'm saying here in a minute. You see? And their measure of intelligence then is intrinsically related to those abilities and ways of thinking that allows them to solve the problems that confront them as a people. Those African Americans then, who are often called intelligent within this system, are what I will call intellectual mercenaries. They are hired guns who then are used to solve the problems of the European corporate system and economic system, political and social system, but who, when confronted with their own problems, cannot solve their own problems. They can fly European shuttles into the space. They can light European ships up on the moon. They can sit on the board, on the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and direct European armies and develop military strategies for Europeans. And yet they cannot run the white man out of South Africa. And they cannot militarily free themselves. They cannot move Africa into the space race. They cannot get our people in a position where we can commercially exploit space and be a part of the expansion of this system into the universe. You are dumb and ignorant no matter what position you have in this society if you cannot solve those problems, ladies and gentlemen. So you got an MBA so that you can be smart and be productive and even better than the white boys at producing for Xerox and producing for IBM and all the rest. But you can't build and take over your own economic systems in Brooklyn and Harlem and the other places. You Africans let these Arabs and these other groups have control of your economy and control of your system. I don't care how much you can go to Cambridge and how many Rhodes Scholars you produce and so forth. If you can't solve the starvation of African people, if you cannot move Africa to a position of technological challenge to other powers, if you cannot solve the issue of securing the survival of African people, you are dumb and stupid. I don't give a damn how much you pass the exam.
The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master, good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house Negro. But then you had some field Negroes who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes, they ate the worst food, and they caught hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes. Yeah.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. I'm sorry about that, Cassandra. How you doing today?
I'm good. How about you? And that's okay. Good job. I love that. That was good. We need more of that. We should have heard more of that.
I know.
But yeah, that's true. Still today.
See, that's
Still
what they
today.
mad at us for, consider, because
Oh boy.
we
Hey,
was wishing, we was hoping for a strong wind to come along, while
hey,
they
I
was
was
saying no.
man,
Our
man.
house on fire, boss. We got to save
Ooh,
it.
man, and the one that said that, I'm looking at them side eye. Our house? You ain't living up in that house. You ain't slept up in that house. You ain't
They
even
think
ate at
we
the table.
tripping.
What you talking about? Our house? Put your house out there in the fields. What you talking about? Your house, man.
It's
That's
our,
good.
our
That's
house on
good.
fire.
We sick. We sick, boss.
We sick.
That's crazy. That's so crazy to me. You know, you got people still, and I'm hearing what he's saying about Africa, and you got people still in Africa that's still not wanting to see the good of Burkina Faso. You know, France just gave an okay for the missionaries to go out and murder the unwanted leaders of Africa. He just
Dog.
gave them a right to do that. And what did they do? They just killed Gaddafi's son, right? Because he was planning on running for president again. I'm like, who gives you the right to come in Africa and give an okay to murder somebody? I'm waiting on somebody to get him. Turn that back on him. You know what I'm saying? It's time for Africans to start praying. Now you're gonna use that hoodoo, use it for good. You know what I'm saying? Use it for your enemies instead of using it on each other. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not condoning, telling you to do, but I'm just saying if you're gonna do it for good. Get rid of, some folk that's in your way. Because it's time for Africa to rise. You can't call Africa a shit country. You can't call an Africa a bad place or a poor country when you come to the country, to the continent, and get rich. And everybody get rich except the Africans. What are we doing here? So I'm listening to what the brother just said. And it's true. But we got leaders that's scared to move. They're scared because they've been threatened. Their family has been threatened. So yeah, what you gonna do? Yeah, you seen Libya when Gaddafi ran it, how great it was and how he was building it up. Not saying every leader is not perfect, but he was watching out for his people and his people loved him. So you call them dictators, the ones that want to do for their own country. But the very ones that you use to rake the country, you don't call you good buddy, you good with them because they keeping their own people down. That's the saddest thing to me. That's the saddest thing because Africa has so much mineral, so much money. So the one of the richest countries, however you want to call it, on earth. But because white folk didn't tell you rich, you're a shithole country. Because they say so. But who's coming to your country getting millions, trillions, and leaving you with 0, 10%, and they take 90% home? What are we doing? That's crazy to me. But I've asked, go ahead. We starting early, aren't we?
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, these all facts, you know.
We starting early.
Yeah, and just so we go through it, let's just oh yeah, I'll play this one, consider it just to start off with, because it is Black History Month, I guess, you know. And I'll play what this brother say. And I'm hoping that I will have the book by next week, you know.
Yeah.
I just had to fix like like a error that I had.
Did you get the cover? The cover's done?
Yeah, it's done, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good job. I was going to ask you about that. Okay. You beat me to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good job.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
yeah, hopefully it'll be like next week, you know.
Yeah. So excited. Then we need to do a live about it. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Awesome. Awesome.
Centennial year, the 100-year celebration of Black folks asserting our humanity in February. However, most people have never heard of the great man who's the reason for the season, Dr. Carter G. Woodson. They haven't read his books. They don't know his scholarship. They don't
Mm,
know his ideas. And in fact, they don't know that Carter G. Woodson consistently promoted the accomplishments of Black people in Africa. He promoted and presented African civilizations at the fountainhead of world civilization. This has been scrubbed from the records by not only the general public, but many of the scholars and even the organizations. His own organization does not even recognize Woodson's consistent scholarship on Africa. His last books, his last two books were on Africa. His last three articles were on Africa, and he's dealing with African civilizations when they were at the apex of human achievement. So we've gone from Negro History Week in 1926 to then Black History Month in 1976. But now this that was on the 50th anniversary. But now on the 100th anniversary, it's time to grow, to develop, to evolve, and really embrace the vision of Woodson. He envisioned an entire year of Black celebrations and Black achievements and accomplishments and greatness in the world. Achievements, accomplishments, and contributions. This is what Woodson focused on. But most of the Black History Month events, they focus on entertainment, giving out awards, and food. Oh, and by the way, we need a Negro, or I'm sorry, a Black speaker to kind of cover it up. How much they're going to give the Black speaker? 5 minutes, 10 minutes if they're generous. And that's most of the presentations that take place. And they focus on individuals, whereas Woodson condemned just to focus on what he called the worship of individuals. And so this year's theme by the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, or ASALA, is a century of Black history commemoration. And so, but in that century of commemorations, where is the focus on African themes? During the time of Dr. Woodson, who passed in 1950, during the time there were numerous national themes in February focused on Africa and African civilizations. Where is that focus now? There has not been a national theme by Asala focused on African civilizations in 54 years. So since the passing of Woodson, the public.
All right, and I'll stop right there. But and this brother, yo, he did what I did way before me, you know. Of course he documented history. He wrote about family issues, you know what I'm saying? He had his own generational well, back to business generational thing that like we do. He did that back in the day, you know. But the purpose of what was then Black History Week, right? It wasn't for the week. It was you supposed to study and learn Black history, your history, all year round. And then there's a week that we come together and celebrate and talk about what we've learned, you know what I'm saying, individually, you know what I'm saying? And we celebrate our whatever, you know what I'm saying, our history, right? But the point is for you to learn it all year around, right? And come and tell the best things, I guess, or everything that you learn within that whole year, right? So that's the purpose of it. But we've lost sight of that, and we lost so much history that we don't even know. So yeah, I would definitely say, yo, the not to even put it like that, but I guess yeah, the book will be like coming up, so hopefully that'll be done in a week. So, but yeah, you want to say something, Cassandra?
Awesome. I cannot wait for this amazing book. And I hope you get it in all of the schools, especially our own schools. Send it out to the principals, send it out to some of the teachers, donate it. Just let them know, hey, it's here.
Mhm.
And this is what we're going, this is what we need to be teaching. And we do. We need to get back to business. We've lost focus. We have lost focus. I'll rest.
Yeah, for sure. Shouts out to my brother Anthony in the building.
Yes, welcome, Anthony.
And we're gonna keep going with the Black History lessons thing too. But I want to just show a few things, like a couple of the ones that you sent me, considering talking
Don't
about.
forget, don't forget Lucius now. We can't forget Lucius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
Daughter. In 19, she fed them their own daughter. This is the maid who served revenge and fed the House family their own daughter. In 1932, the Holloway estate stood like a defiant monument of the South. It had towering white columns and sprawling verandas gleaming beneath the unforgiving Charleston sun. Molly, a strong black woman. She had birthed children in the back quarters, children who were cataloged, bought, sold, and sometimes simply discarded. Clarice
Mm.
knew every name. Her grandmother Esther had told her the stories with a straight back and dry eyes, insisting the weight of them be carried, not wept over. When the chains were finally broken, the Holloways did not weep. This is Black AF history, the unwhitewashed story of America. These are the stories they are not teaching you in the schools and taking out of the history books. This slave named Clarice was patient.
Um, right, yeah. So and shouts out to that sister, right? She fed them their own daughter, you know.
Yes, yes, that's what we're supposed to do. And we did a lot more of that they don't tell you about. We didn't just sit there and
Hmm.
take their stuff. We didn't. They're not gonna tell you that because they're gonna make you seem like black folk was ready and we just went along with the program and we just let them treat us any kind of way. No, they was rising up. Why you think they brought in Willie Lynch? Why you think they did that? That's still going on today because black folk was fighting back. We weren't just sitting down taking their nothing. They couldn't control black folk. They was rising up all the time. And that's why this is so important. We should never forget how to act, how not to let bullies keep bullying us. And what they did back in the day when the bullies did, when they tried, when they rose up. People like Lucius, he took them all out, right? He didn't just stand there and take it. When they tried to bomb his house, what did they do? What did he do? 20 of them disappeared, the main leaders disappeared. Oh, they must have left town. Okay, good. He handled his business, which is what we need to do today. But go ahead, I rest.
Yeah, facts, facts. And there's another sister
Lily
here.
of the Whip, the woman who took 600 lashes and still killed her master with his own bullwhip. 1845, Mississippi Delta. Listen here, child. Gather close now. Because what I was about to tell you just ain't words on the wind. This here's memory made, flesh, blood soaked into red Georgia clay. A story that the big house tried to bury, but the quarters kept breathing life into generation after generation. They called her Lily Dosso. Some folks whispered it with fear, others with something like reverence. In them days of deep sorrow when cotton was king and black bodies were just another crop to harvest, there walked a woman who carried 600 scars on her back, like a map of our people's suffering. 600 lashes, child, 600 times the whip sang its song across her flesh, and 600 times she refused to break. Now you see, people, this ain't no fairy tale where Jesus swoops down and makes everything right. This is the truth of Arnwood Plantation in the year of our Lord, 1845, where the Mississippi River rolled past like it didn't care, where magnolias bloom white as lies. Master Elias Hawthorne ruled with scripture in one hand and bullwhip in the other. But before the 600, before the blood, before the fire that would consume Arnwood like divine judgment, there was a birth. And that's where we begin. In them days of deep sorrow under a harvest moon, fat and yellow as old fear, a woman named Rose gave birth in the slave quarters of Arnwood Plantation. Wasn't no midwife present, wasn't no gentle hands to catch that baby, just Rose alone in the dark, biting down on a leather strap. Her body splitting itself open while the overseer, Mr. Cyrus Boone, placed outside like death, waiting for an invitation. Lord have mercy. The pain that woman endured would have killed a lesser soul. But Rose, she was strong back, one of them fierce women, will work the cotton fields from can't see to can't see. Her hands tough as tree bark, her spirit something the whip couldn't quite reach. She'd been sold to Arnwood 3 years prior, belly already swollen with child, bought cheap.
All right, so they don't even tell the whole story, but yeah, that's another sister who fought back and did what she had to do, you know. And this is one more to get into it.
Love it.
Yeah, I think you sent me this one too, because this one was, I never heard this one.
The slave who hanged her master by the balls and hunted 5 overseers for revenge. This is the true story of Rose Parker, a slave who decided to get revenge on her cruel master after years of abuse and punishment. August the
Mm.
3rd, 1854, Lexington, Kentucky. 7 years before the Civil War, but for the enslaved, war was nothing new. At Bell Union Plantation, the chains never left. They just changed names. Overseers still beat for pleasure. The blood still fed the soil, and those born in stables were still treated like animals. They called her Rose, light skinned, quiet, born as her mother died, bleeding on the hay, used, obedient, invisible, until the night she wasn't. This is Black AF history, the unwhitewashed story of America. These are the stories they try to take out of the history.
All right, so that's another sister right there, you know. So shouts out
Yes.
to that sister.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right. And that kind of leads us into what we're gonna be talking about. And last time, because we was talking about some of the slave laws and stuff. But it's like you said, black people ain't just sit there and take it and be like, yes, sir. That's a modern thing. Like when we be like, yes, sir, that's a
That's
modern
that's
expression.
right.
You know what I'm saying? As
That's right.
back then we was like, F you cracker. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
right. And we took them out, the whole
mhm.
family. We
So
weren't
let's
playing.
continue.
We weren't playing like we do now. This game, we playing games now. We're not handling business now. We letting them get away with too much, and they getting used to it. Mm-mm. We gotta get back to the basics. You come out the mine, I'm coming after yours. That's why they can kill your 10-year-old, run him down with a Jeep, and come back for the part and still walk out the court not guilty. Really? Okay. Chauvin, what's his name? Derek Chauvin or whatever. He wants to get out of jail because he can't handle it. They're trying to redo the prison system now. Oh, white boy get hurt, he can't handle. Then he shouldn't have killed somebody. He just kneeled on somebody's neck. Now he went to prison, can't handle it because them inmates giving him hell. He's in general. I mean, he's in what, isolation 23 hours out of a day. He can only come out 20 or what, a day, an hour. No, you did that. Now all of a sudden, now you want to. We don't want to talk about the prison system. No, you weren't talking about prison system for 2 million brothers you got in the prison that was going through the same thing, that did murder somebody, but you gave them 99 years for what? For nonviolent crime. But now you got a white boy who can't handle it. Now you want to redo the prison system. Get out of here. When I saw that out, what do you mean redo the prison system? Man, man, he right where he need to be. Let him in general population. What you protecting him for? If he did right, then he'll live through his 25 years, right? But if he didn't, he gonna go where George went. I'm just saying. You do unto others. That's my
Yeah,
thing.
he already ain't do right. That's the thing. So
Exactly. That's what I'm
that's
saying.
all I'm saying. He
That's what I'm
already ain't do
saying.
right.
So why you protecting him? Take him out of, put him in general pop. Okay? Take him out that hour. Give him the whole day. Let him live his life. And see how and see what happens. Let's just take our chances. Maybe he might live. George Zimmerman still alive, right? All this time. He's still breathing. Why? This is what I'm saying. We don't take care of business. We letting too much stuff go past us. We looking at the justice system. Well, we let the justice system take care of it. And how does that work with black people? And I rest with that.
Yeah. And so all right, and we're gonna try to get through as much of this as we can, and we'll see where we end up at. So let's just go to it. To grow, which increased white fear because they were being outnumbered. And so a lot of them just began to slaughter anybody who they thought was planning a rebellion. Now, we'll be here forever if I tell you about every single rebellion, especially the ones that never happened, or everyone that was suspected of being a rebellion. Then we'll be here for a very long time. But I'll try to mention a lot of them, or as many as I can. But a lot of them didn't happen because oftentimes there may have been a snitch that looked just like you. But some of them could have possibly been made up from white fear. Today they'll call it driving while black, walking while black, living while black. But back then they could just accuse you and there's a good chance you'll be lynched. Now, allegedly, there was supposed to be an uprising involving free and enslaved black people and biracials in Virginia in 1727. Now, with the British, it's clear where biracial stood. But if there was an actual plan, I don't know, because there wasn't enough evidence to actually convict anybody. But it led to Virginia establishing their first official slave patrols in 1727. Now, they already used their white indentured servants and other white people to patrol slaves and all of that, but they made the first official slave patrol. But even though there was white paranoia and white
So
fear,
you see, that's not even new. Considering they just take random white boys and have them on the slave patrol.
Exactly. That's
but
what ICE doing today.
mhm.
But only we not the ones being hunted yet.
Hey, it's funny. Nobody cared for what it was 17 something. It's like 400 years now, and nobody cared
Like
until what
14,
last
now
week.
it's Exactly.
Lord have
Yeah.
mercy.
Yeah. Okay. Lord have mercy is right. Go ahead.
Sometimes their fears were right, like with the Chesapeake Rebellion of 1730.
In 1730, around the Norfolk and Princess Anne counties of Virginia, a rumor began to grow that the King of England had decreed that all enslaved men and women would be freed, pending their baptism into Christianity. Unfortunately, this rumor was not true.
They need
Much
more.
to the chagrin of the colonial governor, its origin could not be found. But no matter who or why the rumor began, it spread so rapidly through the community of enslaved men and women that their once seemingly hopeless desire for freedom gave way to action.
Start being Christians with nothing.
That
Ain't that?
fall, two Congolese men who had converted to Christianity led more than 200 enslaved Africans in an uprising against the Virginia planters. But the local militia responded quickly in suppressing what would become known as the Chesapeake Rebellion. Tragically, 29 people were hanged on that violent day in 1730. But their sacrifice was not entirely in vain, as several hundred men, women, and children successfully fled to their freedom in the nearby Dismal Swamp, where over the following years, they would bravely transform this treacherous, inhospitable piece of earth into a home for themselves and their families for generations to come.
Now, this planned rebellion is said to have started after rumors about their king, King George I of England, said he was going to free every slave that had been baptized and accepted Christianity. Now, of course, we saw the baptism law already before in 1667. Still, a lot of Black people felt disgruntled because they had accepted Christianity, but they were still slaves.
For no reason.
The rumor wasn't true, but groups of enslaved Black people started to gather together and protest and demand their freedom. Nearly 200 people met in Princess Anne County, Virginia, which eventually became a part of Virginia Beach. And when they met, they elected their own leaders. Now, according to sources, they planned a rebellion for a Sunday morning while white people were in church. And like I told you, there were a lot of rebellions on holidays and Sundays. They used that day to their advantage. But before they could do anything, a militia went up there to stop them. Now, they caught a few people, but a lot of them managed to escape and went into an area known as the Great Dismal Swamp. And that area today is between Norfolk, Virginia and Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Now, y'all remember in the first lesson, we talked about how the...
All right, and I'm stop it there, right? Cause and you sent me this, Cassandra, and this is valid for today, right?
By any means necessary. The Black News family, our young Black
This is how they
brothers
was
and
talking back
sisters
then,
around
right?
the world
Just
need to start
imagine it.
getting military training. Black people around the world have got to become militarized. And this has to happen now, not tomorrow. Let's send our children to practice martial arts so they can protect themselves from those who bully them. Once again, Black people have got to get military training. This notion that we live in a multicultural world is a nonsense story because everybody else is armed except Black people. Black people are drinking, having sex, dancing, and getting comfortable. We have got to stop being comfortable being protected by those who took our land. And we must become more concerned with ensuring that when the time comes to take our land back, we have the capacity to do so. Because without that, we will never be free. I'm your sister, Lena.
Right. And that's a fact, right? And when we were more militarized, of course you had this, let me see.
On a moonless night in June 1730,
What we was just
somewhere in
talking
the
about, the
vast
Chesapeake
darkness of the
Rebellion.
ocean, 25 enslaved Africans made a choice that would echo through the annals of resistance. They would seize their floating prison or die trying. Armed with nothing but improvised weapons and desperate courage, they rose against their captors aboard the slave ship Chesapeake, transforming the vessel's hold from a place of human cargo into a battlefield where freedom would be won at any cost. Welcome to Historic Crimes TV, where you help me show her that real-life stories like this matter. Tomorrow's story is one you 1930. The vessel had loaded its human cargo from somewhere along the West African coast, likely present-day Senegal or Gambia, and set sail for the American colonies. Below deck, approximately 100 enslaved Africans were chained in the suffocating darkness, enduring conditions designed to maximize profit while barely sustaining life. Among the captives were men who refused to accept their fate. Despite speaking different languages and coming from different ethnic groups, they found
See
ways to
that?
communicate, to plan, to organize.
Put a side there.
Ringleaders managed to coordinate their
That's
efforts
the
while
difference.
shackled in the fetid hold, passing messages during the brief moments when they were brought up for exercise or when the crew distributed meager rations. The enslaved conspirators faced enormous obstacles. They were outnumbered by the armed crew. They were weakened by starvation, disease, and the brutal conditions of the Middle Passage. They were chained and shackled. They had no knowledge of navigation or sailing. They possessed no weapons beyond what they could fashion or steal. Yet they plotted anyway, on the chosen day. The revolt began with stunning coordination. The
They did it
enslaved men
anyway.
had somehow managed to break or pick their shackles, a feat that required both physical strength and careful planning to avoid detection. When a signal came, they burst from the hold in a coordinated assault. The details that survive suggest a violent, chaotic battle. The rebels armed themselves with whatever they could find or had secretly prepared: pieces of broken wood, tools stolen from the ship, perhaps knives taken from the galley. Their primary advantages were surprise, desperation, and the moral conviction of people fighting for their very humanity. The
Man, also I will add, he ain't gonna say it, but if you put him one on one against you, you'll probably win uh, 10 times out of 10. You're probably going to whoop their ass. I think that women could probably do it, but they shouldn't have to. But I think that they could take a average black woman and the average white boy is oh black woman. I'll put my money on a black woman. I don't know. So you could just straight beat them straight up without the desperation. Like we just fighting straight up fair. That's why they get the guns and the 3-on-1, and a lot of times you still win anyway. So I just had to throw that in there.
crew of the Chesapeake fought back with muskets and cutlasses, but the rebels had chosen their moment well, possibly during a watch change when fewer crew members were on deck. The fighting was brutal in close quarters. According to surviving accounts, the enslaved rebels killed several crew members in the initial assault, including possibly the captain or first mate. For a brief, extraordinary moment, the enslaved Africans controlled the deck of the ship that had been their prison. But controlling the ship and knowing how to sail it to freedom were two different things. The rebels faced a cruel dilemma. They were now masters of a vessel they couldn't navigate, floating on an ocean they didn't know, with no clear path to freedom. Without knowledge of their exact position, the wind patterns, or how to work the complex rigging of an 18th century sailing ship, their victory was incomplete. What happened next is that some of the surviving crew members regained control through force, compelled the rebels that they would sail the ship back to Africa, but the ship, badly damaged and with many dead on both sides, eventually made it to America's ports. The rebellion was ultimately suppressed. The consequences for the survivors were severe. Those who survived the revolt itself faced torture, execution, and sale to particularly.
All right, so that's another one that happened in the Chesapeake, but
That's the
and I
saddest story ever. That's the saddest story ever. How did they take the boat back over? If you had thrown them overboard, how could they take the boat back over? See, when you have to take them down, right? You can't just half do it. That's showing us that right there. Don't half do it. If you're gonna do it all the way. Throw every last one of their asses overboard. It shouldn't have been one left. Period. Figure it out. They figured out how to do the boat, right? You can figure it out too. You built a whole America. Figure it out. But y'all let them jokers live. and then they was able to take the boat over. Ain't that the craziest thing to me? Every last one
Well,
would have been served food.
well, I'm not gonna lie to you, Cassandra. A lot of the things that sometimes, not a lot of times, but every once in a while, right? I'll just put it this way. There was a brother, and a lot of times it was this black and brown, because black people have been saying black and brown for a long time, and black and got stabbed in the back by the brown every time.
Every
But
time. Every time.
every time since 1500, literally every time since
We
1500.
still hollering black and brown. Still today.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
But a lot of times they would be like, well, if you don't have to kill them, then don't kill them, But not
Man,
all people said that. But
man,
so I ain't gonna even put it out there.
Take them out. Take it out. If you don't have to, you have to. It's a must. Because if don't, they ain't gonna come back. Take out as many as you can. Period. That's what should have been said. What are you letting them jokers live for? So they could take back over? No. Throw them all overboard. Every last one of them overboard. We'd have been lost at sea. Better than you coming to America, dying, and being tortured. In the world. Go ahead.
Yeah. And okay, so and I'll show you this one. Now, this is from the Chesapeake Rebellion we was talking about, 1730. What they had was they called the Great Dismal Swamp, but black people ended up making their own communities, you know what I'm saying? Like after the rebellion, and they got away, they did their own thing and created their own community in swamps,
That's
now.
right. That's what you're supposed to do.
Now, and I want you to imagine this, right? Imagine like, and this is not this situation, but this happened throughout history, right? You in your house just chilling right now, and some pop off, and they just going around burning everybody in your neighborhood house. And the only thing you could do, whether you barefoot or not, is run into the swamps and hide. You know what I'm saying? Like, consider, would you go into the swamps and hide for like 3 days, like barefoot with your children?
You know what? Why didn't they come together and fight? Why would you let somebody come in your neighborhood and burn it down? I'm just trying to understand this. Why? What happened to you staying put and fighting? You have a whole neighborhood. Why didn't you have your patrols out? Why didn't you have your security out? Why didn't you have your Vietnam vets? Okay, like Lucius did. He hired Vietnam vets to patrol his cities, right? It wasn't no burning nothing down. It was them disappearing. But this is what we don't do. Come together and protect and patrol your families at all cost. So somebody got to go, they got to go. We got to patrol our neighborhoods. We got to do better with security. But how come they didn't know this? You know them crackers coming.
Well, with this community, they and that's good you said that, because with this community, they did,
Hundreds of years ago, this sprawling wetland about the size of Delaware stretched down the East Coast. The swamp was brimming with snakes and bears and mosquitoes so thick you couldn't see a few feet in front of you. Yet hidden inside was a refuge to tens of thousands of Black people called Maroons who escaped the bonds of slavery, some living free for generations. Maroons didn't just run away or survive in the swamp. They grew into a state-sized stronghold against chattel slavery that lasted more than 250 years in the middle of the South. I'm Harini Butt. Welcome to the heart. In colonial Virginia, both Black and white laborers endured land. It was set off by
they did it.
That
Both black and white minds
to keep progress.
White folk were running.
To escape sexual violence from her enslaver.
They like to
She later wrote, but even
reduce
those
it
large
a lot.
venomous snakes were less dreadful to my imagination than the white men.
All right, so but this one is like 12 minutes, so I ain't gonna play that whole thing, But let me see if I can find a shorter one.
That has hazardous conditions associated with it. The heat, You got poisonous snakes, and mosquitoes come out at certain times of the year, and it's unbearable.
Ain't nobody doing it.
But when you think about some of the torture the enslaved people endured, I think if most of us were living during that day and we had an option to go in the swamp and live freely, I think a lot of us would take that option.
No, it would be like, please, sir, I ain't trying to live in no
Lord,
swamp.
I ain't
Please,
going to
sir.
no swamp with no snakes. I'm just saying, we gonna fight.
From the 17th
We gonna fight.
They ain't fighting, they gonna beg.
slaves, known as
We ain't going to
maroons,
no
found
swamp, man.
refuge in the Great Dismal Swamp. Located on the border of Virginia and North Carolina, the swamp was wild and inhospitable. Nevertheless, it was there that runaways created self-sufficient
You
communities.
see why I be saying what I be saying, considering ain't no good ones and all that stuff.
Crazy.
For the past 10 years, archaeologist Dan Sayers from American
crazy.
Before we started our research, there was a sense people lived in the swamp for a variety of reasons.
And then guess who make money off of it?
In the swamp and find remnants of their lives out there. And sure enough, we've been able to look at several sites associated with several.
All right. Anyway, so they was able to establish their own town, and that's what I want. I didn't want to show you the negative side, but the fact that they were able to establish their own town is a good thing. So,
But if you can establish your own town, why could you stay there and fight? Come on, we're gonna get together. We're gonna handle some business here. We're not running to the swamps. We're gonna take care of their ass. We're gonna do what we need to do. Seriously, what are you talking about? A swamp? Who's going out there? Snakes and alligators and everything. No, we're not doing that. I'd rather stay and fight for my land if we're gonna do anything. A group of us. They come in here, we're gonna handle some business. Period. Why we always gotta run? But I rest with that.
well, we don't have to run, but
It's enough of us. It's more of us than them. But they got you believing that you're only 13%. And we've been 13% since we've been in America. We didn't have no babies, nobody grow. Or is that how many folk they died? They killed us off so much that it stayed at 13%. Is that what they're trying to tell us? But every culture that comes here grows except Black people. Make it make sense.
it kills us so much. That's crazy. But all right, so let's keep going with the
Native population and Black people united to fight Europeans.
Okay.
But then Europeans started making deals with the Indians to help them turn on us.
Stabbed
And
in the
often
back
they left
again.
us
Damn.
hanging, or worse,
They'll
they
never
helped
change.
the Europeans.
They'll never change.
A lot of times these Indians helped the white man, quote unquote, stop rebellions. And by 1730, slavery for the Indians was coming to an end, and they were also ending European indentures. And a lot of the Indians and these white indentures became a part of the slave patrol. And then there were tribes like the Cherokee who signed peace treaties.
Now, I don't know if you heard that. A lot of the Indians became a part of the slave patrol, right?
Yes.
Understand?
But that's what they do.
And like one of the first white nationalists, Benjamin Franklin, they called him an abolitionist because he was like, "Oh, I'm against slavery," but he was like, "Why increase the sons of and daughters of Africans in America when we could make this be a white nation?" You know what I'm saying, with the Indian. But they was like, "You dumbass, we can't work in the sun. We're gonna die." You know what I'm saying? They have to, like, they're the only group of people that can actually do it. And I guess silly enough, we did it, but anyway, let's keep going.
And agreed to help them enforce the fugitive slave laws. And they often hunted down and returned runaway slaves.
Turns out, this part of Cherokee Nation history was not widely talked about, even within the nation itself.
I'm Chuck Hoskin Jr. I'm Principal Chief of the Cherokee Nation.
Got no friends.
I can tell you, growing up, I did not know about Cherokee Nation, not only the enslavement of African Americans, but that it was a matter of Cherokee law that we could enslave African Americans. We are both a people that have been oppressed and exploited, and the truth is, at times in our history, we have oppressed and exploited. Those two things happen on the same plane, and I think that often doesn't make initial sense to people when they hear it, but it takes a deeper dive into history to understand some context in which these things are happening.
In the early 1800s, the U.S. government continued to attack Native people and seize their lands. It was also around this time that Thomas Jefferson and other influential plantation owners gave all the tribes in the region what was called the civilization policy, a sort of checklist to the tribes for how to survive in this new American project. All they needed to do was learn English, convert to Christianity, adopt white gender norms like the men farm and the women stay at home. And the people who were touting this policy were a lot like Jefferson, wealthy Southern plantation owners who owned a lot of slaves. The implication, to have power, you have to have slaves too.
As the United States is becoming a country, they are creating a national culture, and slavery becomes an increasingly important part of that.
Elena Roberts teaches history at the University of Pittsburgh. She explained to me that several tribes enslaved African people.
So things like slaveholding are important to not just the accumulation of wealth, but also being a small independent farmer.
See, like several of these tribes enslaved us because we don't have no damn friends. It ain't no black and brown. It ain't no black and Indian. Ain't none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? We was not cool. Like, first of all, like we got to understand that every other group seemed to have this affinity to whiteness ever since their domination and all of that stuff. Now they got wiped out to this day, but they will still practice the same anti-blackness. And this is why I be trying to tell you, we don't have no friends. I don't care who you try to be like is our friends. Somebody, I don't care, a monk or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you about the history of the monks and they damn racism. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody practices anti-blackness, you know? But anyway, let's keep going.
There were Native Americans with huge plantations, and there are people, doing the cotton planting and picking corn.
The Cherokees' decision to embrace this new civilized future was also tactical, a form of self-preservation. And so some tribes thought that the economic power slaves afforded them might make white Americans into allies.
It certainly was something that was a product of white settlers, pressures that were brought to bear, both economic and political. But it also is not, in my view, to be used as an excuse.
This choice that some Cherokee made to own slaves to keep themselves free was something that I struggled with a lot. And so I reached out to this Cherokee historian.
See, and that's how I can tell the woman who made this is black, because she struggles with it a lot. We don't understand how other groups will always throw us under the bus trying to kiss up the white crackers or whatever you want to call them, peckawoos or whatever. We just can't seem to understand how we don't have no friends. We can barely get on the same page with each other, right? Because we was just seeing how these tribes who was from different tribes, right, but happened to be, they didn't speak the same languages, they didn't speak the same, they didn't have the same cultures, but they was in a position where they knew they was being kidnapped, right, and about to be forced into slavery, and they was willing to put aside whatever it is and found a way to communicate with each other, but somehow we don't understand that. Okay, all right.
Named Julie Reed.
I'm an associate professor of history at Penn State University and a citizen of the Cherokee Nation. Cherokees changed so that they could stay the same. Like, what are the things we're willing to do in order to protect the core parts of who we are? And some Cherokees are making certain kinds of calculations like, well, we're willing to adopt plantation slavery in order to maintain other parts of our sovereignty, maintain other parts of our familial structures, maintain other parts of our society.
And then you have tribes like the Pasquotank tribe, who also helped catch runaways. And after the Chesapeake Rebellion, they continued to try to pursue them into the swamps. Now, most of these slaves got away and were able to live in this swampy area for generations as free people. And some say a lot of rebellions was planned in these areas. But of course, after the rebellion, the slave patrol increased and gatherings between Black people was extra forbidden. And at that point,
All right, so before we go on, consider so we saw that, and of course you see how they had slavery, right? And I guess you could say this. This was a white boy, but you could say the Indians
You
did the
receive a
same thing
letter from
too.
your former slave master asking, matter of fact, begging you to come back and help work on the land because he does not know what he's doing at all. After the Civil War, there were tons of plantation owners literally tracking down and harassing formerly enslaved people with letters asking them and begging them to come back to these plantations because they did not know how to work the land at all. This man received one of those letters. He decided to do something a little different, not only write back, but clap back. And we're going to read that in a couple seconds. Now get this, after he sent that letter to his former slave master, within 2 years, that former slave master had to sell his land for pennies and died. And what's even crazier is that researchers found the descendants of that slave master. Do y'all know that they are still mad at this man for leaving? Let's get started and learn something new. Take it back to 1825 real quick. This is Jordan Anderson. And at 8 years old, he was sold to the Anderson family. He served the Anderson family for 39 years. He was married there to his wife, Amanda, and they ended up having 11 children. Fast forward to 1865. Jordan Anderson and his wife, Amanda, and their kids are doing well. They're in Dayton, Ohio. He has a new job. He is not enslaved, and he is being paid well. He receives a letter from Colonel Anderson, his former slave master, who said that the plantation is in disarray. There's no one there to harvest the crops, and that this is his last-ditch effort to save the plantation. And Jordan Anderson says, I don't give a damn. And this month was the anniversary of this letter. August 7th, 1865. Jordan Anderson dictated his response through his new boss, Valentine Winters, and it was published in the Cincinnati Commercial. The letter entitled Letter from a Freedman to His Old Master.
1865. To my old master, Colonel P.H. Anderson, Big Spring, Tennessee. Sir, I got your letter and was glad to find that you had not forgotten Jordan and that you wanted me to come back and live with you again, promising to do better for me than anyone else can. I have often felt uneasy about you. I thought the Yankees would have hung you before this. For harboring Rebs that they founded.
All right, I'm gonna stop it because it go on for a while, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it's not only them; it was the Indians and everywhere else because even after this 1865, where we allegedly stopped being slaves, because y'all got to get up for work tomorrow acting like you ain't a slave. But the Indians was like, no, we ain't letting go of our Negroes. Now, unfortunately, if we talk about what's happening today, um, a lot of them, there ain't but 15 of them left, right? But the 15, they still practice anti-blackness, but there ain't but 15 of them left. So all that was for nothing, right? They still got smoked. So that's what everybody else is about to be facing now. So they don't learn from history. Not my problem. You know what I'm saying? We still here and reproduce the most, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not tripping. But even till to this very day, you see
You know what I mean? That's what it's what, and I think there's the accountability piece too.
For sure.
'Cause, like I notice a lot, like, I spent most of my time organizing with indigenous folks.
Sure.
And most of the time indigenous folks don't mean any harm. But because we live in a white supremacist society, anti-blackness is being, we're being confronted with that anti-blackness. And sometimes when we embrace that shit, people in the indigenous peoples movement also need to address the anti-blackness that exists within our movement.
Sure.
Because if we're about dismantling white supremacy, we better be about dismantling anti-blackness that exists within our communities and our movements.
For sure.
Because that's the residual effects.
Yeah.
So the 15 of them that's left still practice that culture, right? That's just what they do, right? And ever since the beginning, they was like, all right, we'll make a deal with you, white men. You know what I'm saying? We'll try to be, I guess they was the first model minority, you know what I'm saying? They moved on to the Asians now because they didn't got smoked there. That's what the Asians got to look forward to. But and of course you remember when they kicked out a bunch of black people out their tribes and stuff like that, you know.
Civil War the separate membership rolls that the Dawes Commission produced, and that 8 decades on,
to make sure you Negroes ain't getting nothing.
The exclusions cast a harsh light on anti-black racism among the 5 tribes, whose members seemed all too ready to formalize racial distinctions in tribal policies, constitutions, and legal decisions. These striking inequities shape Gale's account of the Black Creeks, where Roberts draws upon a complicated personal heritage, including Chickasaws, Choctaws, freed people, African Americans, and whites, to explore a post-Civil War reconstruction situated in Indian territory rather than in the South. Gale, drawing on his experience of growing up Black in Oklahoma, offers an account that celebrates African American success. We Refuse to Forget narrates a family history, sketching a series of individual stories that will lead to Johnny May Austin. Genealogical histories thrive on founding figures, and Gale.
All right, so Cassandra, you want to say something about that?
I'm just watching. I'm watching.
So since it ain't but like 10 of them left, we'll move on to the modern day Indians, you know what I'm saying? I guess the Mexicans, you know what I'm saying? The mestizos, you know what I'm saying? So let's see what they talking about.
I just feel like you guys are so dramatic about this whole ICE thing. Like, relax. It's not like they're doing you people like Emmett Till. It's not like they're eating your people. It's not like they did you like Henrietta Lacks. It's not like the Tuskegee experiment. Y'all are only just being put in camps and being deported. You are being so dramatic. Like, there's relax. 399 more years to go. It's only been 1 fucking year. Relax. You're being a little too dramatic. It's not that bad.
It's actually like 569 years. So okay.
Y'all don't like being treated black. 399 more years to go. And a couple of years experiments. Then we'll talk.
And that's some decision.
Exactly. Then we'll talk. But right now, just go ahead and get over it. Pull yourselves up by the bootstraps.
Hey, Cassandra, I know you ain't hear it last time, but I gotta play it now that you here. You know, I gotta give them my advice. You know, for what to do on ICE pull up, and for the white boy and the Hispanics. This is my advice to them. I gotta play it while you here.
If an officer stops you, always be polite.
Oh my God.
And never ever run away.
Don't run away from ICE.
Keep your hands inside.
Don't drive no car off or nothing.
Is it a knife? Is it a wallet? Is your life? It ain't no secret. It ain't no secret. No secret, my friend. You can get killed just for living in your American skin.
Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Oh my God, I'm done. And Hillary just like, yeah, bitch, you gonna die. Yeah, go ahead and sing your song. After we get done. All you little Negroes done.
Well, y'all want some American skin. That's what comes with it. So
your American skin. You don't want to die though. You see her dying in her American skin, but you dying now. So okay. Reverse the curse. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, is it? Mm-hmm. Now you want us to care. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's how you.
Same here, Jake.
Right. Tell them what they better to keep your hands in the damn car. Don't drive. Is it a gun? Is it a knife?
Come on.
Didn't the white boy have a gun?
In your American skin. Go ahead.
But consider that's how you know that they full of it and they've been gaslighting us the whole time.
Oh my God, they got away with it, didn't they? And they got us believing it. They got us believing it. Oh my God. Yeah, they got us believing it. Ain't that something? In your American skin.
You wanted some American skin, so there you go.
There you go. It's crazy.
Now consider and speaking of them, now listen to this. Now they didn't beat this Mexican boy so bad that they made him apologize, and this is how you do it. You know what I'm saying? And listen to all the stuff that the white boy that the boy was saying. You know, damn. Let me see.
But they had made them apologize to him.
Nah, he beat him up so bad that he apologized to every black person.
Okay, I got you. I thought I heard it wrong. Okay, I got you.
Now listen to all the stuff he was saying before the fight. You know,
Which of those two fights interest you more, Javante Davis or Terrence Crawford?
Whichever monkey wants to get the banana.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Which of those two fights interest
Oh, wow.
They're talking about monkeys and listen to this.
I'm from Brooklyn, so I can say nigga. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
What's good? It's your boy YK the Truth. So Bud called
or Terrence Crawford?
Whichever monkey wants.
Whichever one want the banana, huh? Okay, see where he got the banana, huh? Hey, you know what? Some of these Mexicans, they fail to realize their heritage got a little black in them, okay? When you see them brown skin, or the ones with that nappy hair, where it come from, bro? His hair look a little nappy to me, don't it? I'm just saying. That hair look a little nappy. Okay.
That's that.
So he talking about his ancestors. Okay.
Well, that's how mulattoes are, because that's why I write the book. They a mulatto group. They're you know.
Yeah.
They confused. They don't know who they are. Yeah, what's going on, Nicole? Shouts out to you. This is another thing he said.
It's cool, man. Just ask me the questions.
His hair nappier than yours. And he's sitting up there talking about black folk when he got some in it.
Why'd you say that? Huh? Why? It's just a biased part of what I'm seeing in our field. That's it. Because it just seems like there's certain ones favoritizing others. I believe the commentators that are on the stand of ESPN are a bit biased to certain fighters. I'm not falling into it.
Talk about the fight.
So anyway.
Wow. That's something. Okay, let's hear the good part now.
After he got his ass whooped now. That's what he got to do.
To all my brothers and sisters, I love you guys. Always salute to the power that it be above. I thank you guys. I never wanted anything to harm you guys at all. So for that, my condolences to all you guys and to the slavery and everything that's ever happened mentally. This fight didn't go your way.
First, huh?
that boy done apologize for everything that ever happened.
But see, this is prime example. Look at this. He talked all of that, and this is what you have to do to bullies, right? This is prime example. Are we learning from this family? This is what we have to do to shut it down. You beat the hell out of them, then you shut it down and keep moving. And they're going to come back and apologize. I'm sorry for even trying it. I'm sorry for even thinking I could. That's what you got to do. I'm just saying, what are we doing here? I want to hear that apology again. Go ahead, say it again.
Yeah, I know you would get the point, because I'll play it again for you.
I hope black folk getting the point. We got to do it.
To all my brothers and sisters, I love you guys. Always salute.
Put the power fist up.
Thank you guys. I never wanted anything to harm you guys at all. So for that, my condolences to all you guys and to the slavery.
Now, figuratively and literally speaking, right? That's what they'll be doing. They'll be like, N-word, N-word. You just hit them in the face. Hey, I'm sorry, buddy. Why? We don't have to. I love you, buddy.
Ain't that what the one did with the black guy in the store with his girlfriend? I love you. I love you. Yeah. You got to beat the bricks off of them. Get that respect back. Yeah.
You see, you can't get the love with love. Like, we be like, oh, I can love them to death. Maybe.
No. That never worked. Show me where that worked. Show me where that worked. Every time I've seen them who hands toe up, then they want to apologize. That's what it's supposed to be. They ought to be scared to mess with black folks. They ought to say, man, leave them fools alone. You know they coming. Stop. Just leave them alone. That's what they should. That's what they used to say. But now they come on your neighborhood and start shooting up some stuff. But you got weapons and you stay in the house. What are we doing? What's going on here? Do unto others. Do unto others.
Yeah, so those of you out there who want their love, that seems to be the way to get it, when they looking like this. So if you want their love, I'm just saying. That's how you get it. All right, let's finish it.
Slave owners even wanted to stop baptizing slaves because it gave them an extra reason to fight, especially since the slave population was continuing to grow. Now, between 1730 and
So that's gonna
1750,
be a
the
Christian.
number of enslaved women brought to the quote unquote New World increased so much to the point where the number between enslaved men and women began to balance out for the first time, at least in the Caribbeans and the Americas. In Virginia, slaves made up a fourth of the population. And with the increased numbers, it also increased white fear. So the governor of Virginia, William Gooch, called in the militia to help investigate conspiracies, hoping it would scare Black people into accepting slavery. And he said to quote unquote, rest happy with their condition because perpetual slavery was the best thing for them. Now, any slave caught off their plantation was arrested and whipped. Still, at least 6 months later, another conspiracy was reported because Negroes dared to meet up together while white people was at church. And it said that they elected their own leader as well. And 4 people ended up getting executed and others were severely punished, whether they were planning a rebellion or not. Now, according to the governor, William Gooch, he said their plan went all the way to Norfolk. So he ordered the slave patrol to patrol at least 3 times a week. He ended up deputizing untrained farmers and other locals to make sure there was no meetings happening at night or while people were in church. And he said every white male should bring his firearm to church just in case, so they wouldn't get caught slipping. Now, they will.
Now you hear how the white Christians be talking? They still talk like this to
And
this
they
day. You
still
would
talk
call
like
them
that.
MAGA,
Yeah, ain't that something? They still talk like that. But these church folk,
We
but
need to
we
bring
said
our
we have
sons to
to
church.
love everybody. So we talk so different than the mega. We talk so different. Christian to Christian, Black Christian and white Christians. We talk totally different. You play a white nationalist Christian, and they sound totally different. They be talking about shooting and killing Black folk. Black folk talking about loving everybody. Well, we gonna let Jesus take care of it. We're gonna let Jesus handle it. No, we're gonna handle it right here for him. We're gonna handle it for him.
In the courts of heaven.
Exactly. What are we doing? Do we understand the difference? We don't serve the same God, y'all. Their God tell them it was okay with slavery. Their God tell them it was okay to kill us, murder us. But what do our God tell us? To love everybody. How is it the same? Are we serving the same God or what? That don't sound like we're serving the same God to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to serve the same God as the KKK either.
Exactly. What in the world going on? We gotta love everybody. Huh?
Whose prayers did they get answered? Mine or the KKK?
Hey, boy, that's a good question. That's a good question.
Because I got a problem now. But all right.
Will tell you about all the laws that was passed against us, but they won't tell you why. Because they don't want us to know how much we was fighting every step of the way. They created laws to prevent us coming together because they know us coming together is trouble for them. Because while they was fighting in Virginia, there was also the Samba Rebellion of 1731 in Louisiana.
The Samba Rebellion was a purported slave rebellion, described by the French historian Antoine Simon Le Page Dupratz in his Histoire de la Louisiane. The revolt is said to have taken place in 1731, in what was then French Louisiana. Contemporary with the Natchez Revolt, it was personified to its alleged leader, a slave called Samba Bambara, a member of the Bambara people from West Africa. While Le Page Dupratz gives a brief recollection of the events, which was more a conspiracy to revolt rather than an actual revolt, his information is not verified by any existent official documents. The African-born Samba is reported to have participated in a number of revolts back in Africa, and during transit to Louisiana. He is also presented by Le Page Dupratz as having served the French as an interpreter, and a slave overseer. The insurrection was due to take place in June 1731, but is said to have been revealed to the colonial authorities after an argument between an angry slave woman and a drunken French marine. Le Page Dupratz, according to himself, participated in arresting the involved slaves. While Samba refused to reveal any information even under torture, 8 other slaves did not. All involved individuals were publicly executed on Place d'Armes, Jackson Square in New Orleans.
Slave revolt on the ship. But it never happened because somebody betrayed him. But I don't know. But according to the white boy who was supposedly his slave owner, who wrote about it, a French white dude named Anton Page du Prats or something like that. But he wrote about it, and in his book, he said Samba's plan was to kill all white people in the area and take over the land to free himself and his people. Now, this Page Duprat's dude said he overheard about the plans when he saw an argument between an enslaved woman and a French soldier after the French dude punched the woman in the face for not obeying him. Now, according to him, after the French soldier hit this black woman, she got mad and said there was going to be a rebellion and all y'all going to get killed or something like that. But he said the people that heard the argument arrested her and took her to the governor and they threw her in prison. Now, according to the writing of this French dude, he said he was mad because the court wasn't taking it serious. But he said you can always believe that a drunk person or a passionate woman is always telling the truth. So there had to be some kind of plan for an uprising. So he said when he went to go investigate and search the area where the slaves were living until he found them and heard them talking about their plan to kill everybody and take over, according to him. Now, he said he was surprised because he thought Samba was loyal, but the whole time he was plotting to overthrow and kill him. So, according to him, Samba was probably playing nice, got his confidence, but the whole time he was waiting to kill him or do whatever he could to get his freedom. So, within 2 days, they ended up arresting 8 men, including the brother Samba, and they also arrested another woman. Now, for nearly a week, they tortured them with fire and other forms of torture. They beat them, but still everybody refused to talk. But after about a week, some of them gave in and confessed. But they say Samba never said a word. In the same day as this alleged confession, in just a few hours, all 8 of the men were killed on a breaking wheel. And I showed you a breaking wheel last time. And the woman was hung.
Sama Bamada was a resident of St. Louis, Senegal, was a trading post for exchanging of goods between Europeans and Africans. Some of those goods being traded were human beings. Unfortunately, Samba ended up being captured and sold into enslavement himself. He fought in many revolts against the French, in which some were successful. So it is safe to assume that he may have been sold into slavery as a war captive. Even on board the slave ship, Samba planned to fight his captors and take over the ship. He ended up being betrayed and his plans were discouraged. His destination would be in the southern United States, New Orleans, Louisiana to be specific. In Louisiana, Samba Bamana would work as a slave driver and interpreter for a Dutchman by the name of Antoine Simon Lepage Duprats. As an interpreter, Samba was able to effectively translate the French and Bamana languages. This came in handy regarding the superior court, as many cases involve Africans of Bamana origin. There were a number of huts at this discreet camp, and one hut in particular had a light. Seeing this light, the press moved apprehensively towards it and overheard the whispers of a group of Africans planning a revolt. To his surprise, it was Samba Bamana at the head of 1731 was never brought to fruition. We can still look at
Go too far with these lessons, putting everything.
All right. A breaking wheel. This picture here is something like it, but sometimes it would be standing up straight. It's like a wheel that they have you. They would like torture you. Sometimes it would be over something or whatever. Let me see if they would have one, because it was like some European torture thing like they used to do to each other.
The breaking wheel was one of the worst forms of punishment in history. It was both a very spectacular and exemplary form of capital punishment because it was carried out publicly, usually attracted many spectators, and was intended to inflict as much pain for as long as possible. The breaking wheel is often referred to as Catherine wheel, because according to legend, Saint Catherine of Alexandria was sentenced to be executed by the wheel when she refused to renounce her Christian belief. However, when she touched the wheel, it shattered magically. Church, treason, or arson. The punishment spokes
Let's
were
see. Let
enforced
me go
with a
to
sharp iron rim, and sometimes even with additional spikes or blades. Most commonly, the executioner began his work at the legs. He first dropped the wheel on the victim's shin bones and then worked his way up to the arms. Usually, the verdict prescribed the number of blows and even the rhythm they should be executed in. It all depended on the severity of the crime committed. The joints of the victim were often placed on sharp-edged blocks of wood to increase the effect of each blow. As always, the engineers of cruelty did their job pretty well and designed devices on which the condemned could be fastened. At the end of the first step, the victim's extremities were shattered to pieces. The victim was in agonizing pain or had even already passed out. If conducted this way, punishment was held bottom up. There were, however, some instances in which the procedure was reversed, ending in a finishing stroke at the neck or chest. Less severe crimes were punished top down. That is, the first blow was intended to kill the man, while the breaking of the rest of the body was just for exemplary purposes. In most
Just
cases,
for
however,
fun.
the ordeal went into the second part. Here, the victim was tied to another wheel, braided into its spokes. This would have been impossible.
Now I think this is what they did the most to black people, right? Where they had you like this, you know.
And braided into its spokes. This would have been impossible with an intact body, but because the bones were broken, the arms and legs could be better deformed. When the victim was mounted, the wheel was attached to a post to display the gruesome work of art. At this point, the torture ended for most, and the executioner strangled or beheaded the victim. But not all had this luck. In certain cases, the wheel was hung over a fire or thrown directly into a fire. But the victim suffered the longest if he was simply left hanging from the wheel until he died of his own accord. According to various medieval accounts, there were cases in which the victim survived for several hours or even days. The historian Rosemary Horrocks mentions the example of a man who in 1348 lasted for 4 days and 4 nights before taking his last breath. In all this cruel...
All right, so you know, y'all see, this is European culture, you know.
Population begin to ordered the slave patrol to patrol at least
verified by
wars and resisting enslavement. Samba Bamada was an interpreter at
Rising.
All right,
So he
yeah,
said when he
that rebellion
Lepage, Duprat, and the rest of his group were captured and brought in front of the council. Courage and faith.
all right.
Which will eventually
And just for that, you know, I think Goochland, if you know Virginia, I think Goochland was named after this dude here who did that. And I guess just for modern terms, this would be the modern
on
one
their
here.
ears to read, but now want you to be the one to advocate for them. Let's get it.
Well. You know, say what you will about Donald Trump, but the man has ended racism in the United States. It's just that he's done so by directing the federal government to treat every race like they're black. And now rest assured, the distinctly ballless, cowardly
So they've been
cockroaches
knew
of
it.
DHS and ICE who are in charge of enacting these reforms, mostly by gutlessly putting on masks and then spinelessly brutalizing almost entirely women and children and then shamelessly executing in the street anyone who gets in their way, want you to know that all the hate they're receiving hoots their 5'1" whittle fifis, to which I believe we all say, quiet, piggy.
Every race
Where was the joke in that? Where was the humor in that? Oh, white people are treated like black people now. Everybody laugh. This is why we know you guys know we go through injustices. You guys just don't give a fuck because it's not you. And once again, it bothers me that they are now cracking these jokes or saying these things, because when we said we were being treated unfairly, they were just like, you guys are making it up. There's no such thing as systematic racism. There's no such thing as racial profiling. Black people just commit all the crimes.
They
But
call
now
this
ICE
racist.
is treating white people badly. Now it's, oh, let's go make this knee slapper joke, Andrew. Shit's not funny. I don't know how the fact that this video is still up. I know people are going to be eating you alive sooner.
Pointed at because I expect more from them.
I don't know why. You expect more from who? Animals? Beasts? How do you expect? Dogs do what dogs do, right? Beasts do what beasts do. Cavemen do what cavemen do. So why do you expect anything from them? You disappoint yourself because they'll never change. And they show you this every day. Because look at their history. And look at it today. Has it changed? No, they'll never change. Period. They pass that shit down from generation to generation. They pass it down. And you still talking about, I'm surprised, I'm shocked. Oh, they still doing this in 2025? Yes, it never went away. Where you been? That's what bothers me with Black people. They so surprised when they see a Black person hanging on a tree in 2025. Yes, they still doing that. Where you been? They never stopped. They just don't do it as often. And now they call it suicide. Oh, okay. But I rest.
Facts. All right.
We Black Americans.
All right. And then you had that rebellion. Damn, I thought I had. No.
Sama Bamada was a.
No, I had another one. I guess I didn't, y'all. Let me see.
What's going on? Rebellion of 1731. I searched, and I promise you, I could not find one picture, let alone artwork, related to this rebellion. I couldn't even find a picture or artwork related to the person who this rebellion is named after. But we will work with what we have, and a picture, Ray De La alleged leader, an enslaved man.
All right, so yeah, we already heard it, and all right, so just so we could finish the last like couple
our
of
next
minutes
lesson.
here.
Now, earlier we saw the treaties with Europeans and how they came up with this quote unquote code to unite to come against us. But of course, we already know how treaties with Europeans work. And of course, they still continue to fight. And we're going to touch on some of these European divisions and how we use them in the next lesson. For example, in 1731, Spanish Florida, because Florida was still controlled by the Spanish, in 1731, Spanish Florida began to offer freedom to slaves who managed to make it there. Now, the catch was they had to convert to Roman Catholicism, and if not, they were sent back to be enslaved. And when the Spanish did this in 1731, it did have an effect on the slave population, many of whom risked their lives to get down there. And we're going to see how all of that plays out. And we're also going to touch on this issue of slave ships. Now, I know a lot of you have opinions, but that is something that we're going to deal with next week. So y'all can save those arguments for then. But before I end this lesson, I do want to make it clear that there was resistance on slave ships as well. And people didn't just get captured and go away quietly. But there was also the Little George ship revolt of 1730.
The revolt of the Little George ship. By the 1700s, the transatlantic slave trade transported a great number of African people to the Western world. Many African people were successful in resisting enslavement and regaining their freedom. This is a little-known story of African people escaping their enslavement to live their lives as free human beings in their homelands. The setting was the Little George slave ship, sailing from the coast of Guinea, West Africa. 6 days prior, 96 Africans were kidnapped and forced upon the Little George en route to the United States to be sold in Rhode Island. The Little George sailed from the coast of Guinea on June 1st, 1730. 5 days later, while still at sea, on June 6th, 1730, the enslaved Africans began their revolt against the ship's crew. At 4 a.m. on June 6th, 1730, the Africans were heavily chained to the ship, but a few of them escaped their chains, broke through the covering of the hull of the ship, and attacked the ship's watchmen before they could notify any other crew members. The enslaved Africans were captured from different tribes, but worked together to free themselves. Out of the Africans who initially freed themselves and attacked the ship's crew, they split in half, one half freeing the remaining Africans, the other half continued to attack and subdue the ship's crew. The Africans were overwhelming the crew and managed to kill a great number of crew members as more Africans were freed from their chains. The ship was originally captained by George Scott, but Scott and a few crew members were captured and locked in the captain's cabin. A few of the Africans made and detonated a bomb on the ship, killing crew members and almost damaging the ship. Shortly after the bomb detonated, the remaining crew members surrendered to the Africans and were locked away on the ship. The Africans took full control of the ship, rerouted their course, and reached the shores of the Sierra Leone River, which led them to the shores of Sierra Leone. The Africans departed from the ship, leaving it on the shores and returned to their homelands. Captain Scott and other crew members were able to survive the revolt, but the Africans were able to continue to live as free human beings. This is the story of the Little George ship revolt. To the Africans who gained their freedom by revolting, we proudly stand on your shoulders.
Now, after these brothers broke free on this ship, the Little George, they gathered the gunpowder on the ship and threatened to ignite it like a bomb. They managed to gain control and took over the ship. There was also a revolt on a slave ship headed to New Hampshire in 1732. They said 50 broke free and killed the captain, John Majors, and the crew and took over the ship. Now, since they hadn't got far, they said they took supplies off the ship and just abandoned it. But these are just a few examples. And like I said, we're going to get into this Spanish.
Now, Cassidra, I don't know what you think about that, right? Where these brothers had a
I'm loving it, but the only thing, my question again, why you letting them live? To live another day to come back. You know what I'm saying? And do it better next time. No. Get rid of them. What are you letting them live for? You don't let enemies live. They don't let you live, right? Then what are we doing? You handle your business. You take them all out. Not condoning violence, I'm condoning justice. This is how you live. This is how you live another day. Continuously, without them going, get more people and coming back. No, you don't let them, you don't give them a chance to come back. And I'm a rest.
Yeah, facts, and that's the thing, you know. We continuously have this, I guess, this humanity or whatever it is, and
I don't know what it's called.
I
Dumbness.
don't know.
I don't know what it's called.
I think it's ignorant. Yeah, it's
I call it
dumbness.
stupidity. That's what I call it. I call it just stupidity. Why
Yeah.
you gonna take the ship over and then you're gonna let the ship live instead of blowing the ship up? You had the gunpowder, you should have blew a hole in the bottom of the ship, killed everybody on there, and used it for firewood. I'm just saying, what are we doing? That would have been a lot of firewood, wouldn't it? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, what are we doing?
And yeah, and another thing about these rebellions is you notice that a lot of the times that they weren't on the same, they didn't speak the same languages, or you know what I'm saying, they weren't on the same, but they recognized that they had to unite to fight together to stand up, you know, and they didn't let whatever
You don't know how to. You don't need to know how to say "kill" in Swahili or another language. You just, you just start doing it, and they follow suit. That's
right.
all.
Just
You don't need to
right.
say the words. Just do it. Do the do.
Right. We all know what the head nod mean. That mean it's time to go. Like the black head nod, you know what I'm saying? Just hit the downward head nod, and we know it's time to go. You know.
Handle your business. Yes. What are we doing? Stop. Stop letting them. We have so much compassion, and that's what's getting black people. And this is what I'm wanting to see right now with France telling Africa, telling the missionaries, hey, go get the leaders that's not doing what we want them to do. That's a call, the dog whistle for Burkina Faso. Now, my thing is, I'm sitting here seeing what you gonna do. What you gonna do? He just told the mercenaries, go get your leader. What you gonna do? Rise up globally and handle your business. Don't wait for them to come. Somebody should have been to France and taken care of that. Somebody should have been there, done that. You don't wait for them to come to your island and handle your business. Sometimes you got to go get it. He already sent the dogs, and they coming. So what you doing? Sitting there waiting? It's time now. Now is the time to do what you need to do before they get there. But I rest with that.
Now it was another thing. I don't think I got it here. Just because you brought it up, I want to pull it up real quick. Because we done anyway. So I want to play it because I was gonna play this on another time, but I might as well while you here real quick because you brought it up.
Yes, well, go ahead and do it. Make it do what it do.
Okay. All right, here it goes. Check it out.
In Nigeria. And what I mean by is in Nigeria. And what I mean by us is in Nigeria, the United States military forces has just touched down in Nigeria. Now, according to reports, they're going there to battle ISIS. Now, I want y'all to follow me for a second. I'm about to go down a fucking road. I remember in late December 2025, U.S. forces did an airstrike in Nigeria, Northwest to be exact. They hit a village called Jabo. I hope I'm saying that right. Debris hit that whole fucking village. There was nothing going on in that area whatsoever. There was no ISIS there. Well, I guess they're going back, but I want y'all to follow me somewhere else. Remember when General Mike Langley was sent over to try to get Burkina Faso to act right? And then that president of Burkina Faso kept getting hit after hit after hit. They were trying to take him out over and over and over again. Well, General Mike Langley and this administration claimed that ISIS was all through Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. What do those three countries have in common? They all said, fuck Western civilization. The French ain't getting shit. They're cutting the French off and Europeans off of everything in their land. That means Wigs R Us can't touch that shit. They're claiming jihadist groups are all through that territory so they can go in there and invade that shit. Let's see how far they take. And if you are in Niger, Mali, or Burkina Faso, y'all better keep your heads on the switch. We ain't got no clue what this administration has up their sleeve. And for the Nigerian president, boy, you better pray this goes right.
We got the United States.
All right, so yeah, what you think about that?
I'm just saying, but what did Nigeria president do? He on the ship, he over there in Europe right now. So they invading your country and you on a vacation, you need to be overthrown, period. While he out of the country, somebody should have stood up and did what Burkina Faso did and took it over. You don't care nothing about your people. You allowed the U.S. to come in to invade, to bomb a little city that was close to Niger. Y'all have to understand that city was close to Niger and Burkina Faso and Mali. It was right in their back door. So what they said ISIS is there. Well, who created ISIS, you guys? Who created ISIS? America did. Those are America's people. And they create them to start coups so that they can destabilize the country, so that they can concentrate more on stabilizing the country, so then they sneak in the back door. But now we know they coming. So what are we doing to get ready for their asses? Now is the time. You should have been prepared because you already knew they was coming. You already knew they was coming. So I'm hoping and praying that they're already ready. You're not getting ready. You're ready. So as soon as they step foot, you handle your business. So I'm just saying. And I rest with
facts. Yeah, facts. Not facts. I don't know. It's the same old thing we doing, Cassidra. I'm sorry to tell you.
No, we not. We I'm just saying. I'm hoping Africa gonna show America how it's done. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah. Okay, you got a brother that's in there. Now they didn't try to kill this brother 36 times night, but in the 30s, right? 32, 30. It's a number, a huge number that shouldn't even be. So you know that they're trying. What are you doing to get ready for this one? This is the big one. Well, he already told us. He said the winter gonna be a what did he say, a red winter, a dark winter, red winter, something. He already told you in 2025 when it was ended that it was gonna be a red winter. That means it's gonna be full of blood. So he already knew what they was coming, what they was doing. So he's ready. He's ready. But my thing is, black folk globally need to rise up and let them know you're not going to touch him. He's doing for his own country. He's doing what no other president has been able to do in Africa. He's doing it. So if you don't see him doing it, why don't you follow suit? See how he did it and do the same. Follow suit. Africa's the richest country in the world, the richest continent in the world. Everybody comes to Africa and gets rich except Africans. But then want to call your country a shithole country. Then why are you here if it's such a shithole country? And how much minerals did you get to take out? America, France, and leaving them with 10% while you took 90%. But because white folk ain't tell you rich, Africa don't see the good. They don't see the good in themselves. They don't see the minerals. They don't see the wealth of Africa. You waiting on white folk to tell you what? They're not going to tell you anything. They hoping you don't get it. They hoping that you don't know that America's broke. They hoping that you don't get it. Y'all look at the economy. Look at what's going on. South African dollar was above American's dollar. Since when? You guys don't understand what's going on here. You better wake up. This is the turn of a century. This is the new. Africa is the now. Y'all can talk that noise all you want. Tell I ain't African. You're a dummy. That's what you are. You're a dummy. Your grandma came from here. DNA is DNA. It don't change. I totally delete people talking that craziness. I'm not African. Okay, well, okay. We don't want you over here anyway. Stay in America and die with your masters. But the ones that see the change and seeing what's going on, you got Amazon coming over here now. Walmart's coming over here. Why? Do they understand something you don't understand? And at first they wouldn't even touch Africa, but they're over here now. Why? Because they know. They know something you don't know. But now I'm going to tell you what. Y'all black folk better get it together. Because you think it ain't going to get no better in America. Y'all think you're going to wait it out? It ain't going to get no better. Trust and believe that. Have a backup plan. And I rest with that.
Yeah, all facts, and listen, it goes from back then to today, you know what I'm saying? And the crazy part is the same thing applies, everything that you just said, Cassidra, it applied back then, but it applies even more today. But we don't have no excuses because we got all of this history to go by. They didn't even have it, but they still recognize that they had to fight back, so, and just to wrap it up,
Today, we're diving into a
I
small
think he
reel.
said
We're
something.
talking about the Little George Ship Revolt of 1730, a tale of bravery, cunning, and a fight for slave trade. Captain George Scott, probably thinking it's just another day at sea, is sailing from the Banana Islands off the coast of Guinea to Rhode Island with a cargo of 96 captured Africans. But little does he know, his human cargo is about to rewrite their story in a way that would make any scriptwriter proud. Now, let's set the scene. It's 5 days into the journey, and our protagonists, the captured Africans, are in the lower deck, treated worse than the rats probably scurrying around them. But here's where our story takes a turn. On June 6th, around 4 a.m., several captives did something extraordinary. They broke free from their iron shackles. Imagine the shock on the crew's faces when these captives came running at them without the chains. And it gets better. These newly freed individuals aren't just about to sit back and enjoy the ocean view. No, they're taking over. They arm themselves with whatever they can find, and in a twist that would make any action hero nod in respect, they even create a bomb out of gunpowder and a bottle. Talk about resourcefulness. The crew, realizing they're outmatched and possibly on the brink of being extras in a big explosion scene, do the only thing they can. They surrender. And here's the jaw-dropping part. Our
There is no
African hero
surrender.
no sailing or navigation experience. Turn the ship around and head back to Africa. If this isn't a masterclass in determination, I don't know what.
All right, so and like Cassidra said, it is what it is, right? But now I will say this, Cassidra, I'm pretty sure you're gonna spot what's wrong with this here. But when they showed up, now if this was the 1600s, I would be like, when they showed up to your land, this is how you should have responded. But I'm pretty sure you're gonna spot the issue with this, Cassidra.
This is what happens when you don't respect a man's privacy.
Hey, don't tell him to get out the doorway. He do not belong across his doorway. Tell him what the rules and the laws is. Tell him he home invading. Right now, y'all witnessing a home invasion. Right now, y'all witnessing a home invasion. Could you get out my doorway, please, sir? Could you get out my doorway, please, sir? You videotape this? Could you please get out my doorway, please, sir?
Oh my God! Talk too long. He talked too long. Asked him too many times. First time, get out my doorway, and that's when action should have happened. You once is enough, and even with once, because he should have known not to come to your door.
Why is you in my doorway in the first place?
Exactly. He handled his business. Proud of him. Proud of him. Good job. Good job.
Yeah,
That's how we need to handle it. They come to your door, handle your business. They at your door. They invading your privacy. Handle your business. Good job.
Cassidra, imagine if those first ships pulled up and the first black man that was out there, imagine if he did this.
Get out my doorway, please, sir.
Can you get off my country, please, sir?
Please, sir.
And push them back on the ship.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. Get off my land. Get off my land. And handle your business.
Sir.
That's right. And you do have one. You have one group of Africans, and I think nobody white has ever been there. They tried. They can't even get close. They still use bow and arrows and whatever. I can't remember the name of it, but they still do it today. They don't have nothing to do with white folk. They're not allowed on the island, and the government has already said, do not mess with these people. Don't even come to the island. Leave them alone, because every time they do, somebody die. They die. Not them, but the white folk die. So they've already told them, don't come, leave them alone. That's how we should have it, where they know, don't come to Nigeria, don't come to Burkina Faso, don't come, because we're gonna handle our business. And that's the stigma that black people need to have with them.
Yeah, they the only black people on the planet with common sense.
Exactly. They're the only ones. They don't even deal with them.
Now, and check this out, Cassidra. This Asian dude was in Africa calling the people's monkeys. You sent me this one, right?
Why are you over here with monkeys?
Get your ass back on the boat.
Come on, now get back.
Get your ass on the boat.
He got his leg ran over. I love that.
That thing probably broke. He was trying to walk.
He was walking on that thing, walking off.
Just get back on the boat. Don't get off the boat. Take your Christianity with you.
And don't come back.
Is that a white bitch with you? Get your ass on the boat too.
Oh my God, that's a funny part right there. His car ran over. He was trying to get up out of there, wasn't he? Looked like they wouldn't even let him in the car. Oh my goodness. Now that's what we're supposed to be doing right there. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's how we're supposed to be handling our business. Right.
It could have been different. It could have all been different, Cassidra. Could have none of this could have happened if we had responded that way 700 years ago.
Yep.
We wouldn't have to be talking about this right now.
Exactly. You wouldn't be in America, but I'd be right where I was supposed to be.
You'd be where you was at right now, but I'll be
exactly. All black folks.
Yeah. So anyway, I appreciate you for making time for coming on here, Cassidra.
Invite. Thanks for the invite.
Oh yeah, we got to give them immigrants advice when ICE pull up one more time, just so they know. Because I care, black and brown, right? This is my advice to you.
If an officer stops you, always be polite
Don't say nothing to the ICE
and
people.
never run away.
Better
Promise,
not, man.
mama, you'll keep your hands inside. Is it a gun?
See, the white girl ain't keep her hands inside, did she? She tried to drive off, didn't it? And then the other dude, is it a gun? It was a gun in there, all right.
Is it a gun? Is it
It
a
is.
knife? Is it a wallet? This is your life. It ain't no secret. It ain't no secret. No secret, my friend. You can get killed just for living in your American skin.
White skin.
Oh.
White skin. Your turn, America. White your turn. Your turn. Let's see how you like it now.
It ain't no secret.
By your bootstraps.
Listen, if the
If
police pull you over,
if you have the same effect it had on us. Let's see how you like it.
you better be polite. It was all fun and game. It was fun and games at then, Cassidra, when it was just us. It was all fun and games.
Yes.
Lord have mercy. But anyway, Cassidra, you want to say something to wrap up everything that we was talking about today?
I just want us to look at this. I want you to keep on playing these videos over and over and over and understand we didn't just take stuff. We didn't just take it. We fought back. We gave them what they gave us. We didn't just sit down and let the law or call the police. I've heard black folks say call the police, and I'm like, we call the police, we die. What are you calling your enemies for? What do you call your murderers for? Why? This is crazy. We got to learn from our mistake. We got to learn from our past. We got to learn from our ancestors. They didn't take no stuff. They just didn't show you what they did, but they didn't take a lot of mess from them. They handled their business. And that's what we have to get back to. Do unto others. That scripture's there for a reason. Do unto others. That means if they kill yours, do unto others. If they burn your house down, they got to disappear. Ain't that what Lucius did? I just hate we didn't pull up Lucius today, but that's okay. We're going to pull up Lucius next week, okay? But my thing is, Lucius didn't play. Lucius didn't play. He handled his business. That's how we should be doing, taking over some of these cities and handling our business and do what we need to do. And I rest with that.
Yeah, and Cassidra, I ain't trying to start you with nothing, but Revelations 13:10 says, he that lead us with the sword must be killed with the sword.
That's
He
right.
that leadeth into captivity must go into captivity.
I totally agree. It's their time. It's their time. That's how I look at it. It's their time. He already gave you permission to do it. If you read the Bible, David said, can we go? Can we do it? Can we handle our business? He said, yes, and you're going to win. He said, you're going to recover all. Yes, go get them. So why aren't we doing that? What are we doing? Standing around looking, waiting for who? He gave you the permission to do it. Why are we waiting? He ain't coming. He told you to handle your business. So why are we standing around looking, waiting? Who you waiting on? He waiting on you. He already gave you permission. Now go do it. Now go do it. I'll rest, I think.
Yeah. And it just says, okay, I'll show you. Just so you know that it's okay. Everything that we have said here today is just fine. No matter what you believe. As long as you believe in blackness, you know what I'm saying? That's the most important thing, you know.
You won.
Oh damn, it's freezing up. Anyway, I was gonna say shots out.
Never again.
Right, exactly. And shouts out to Nicole, you know. Says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints.
Okay, I'm just
That's
saying.
all I can say.
That's enough said right there. You said a mouthful. Now go do it. Get busy. He already gave you the permission. So while you waiting on him, he's waiting on you. Go handle your business.
Yeah, now my computer freezing up that I brought it up. All right, here we go. All right. So shouts out. I appreciate you for coming on here, Cassidra. Shouts out to Nicole day by day in the building. I appreciate you, Nicole, for coming through. Shouts out to my brother Anthony. Shouts out to Coco. Shouts out to Matron. Everybody else that be listening. Shouts out to Karma 804. I appreciate you. And I definitely appreciate you, Cassidra, for making time and coming on here, you know.
Waiting on that book. I'm waiting on the book.
Yeah, next week, y'all. Hopefully it'll be next week. I just had to fix a minor error in there. So all right. And for the last words, I'm gonna let this be the last words, y'all. Of course, this brother here, who should have the last words most of the time.
Nothing to do with Anthony Hilda. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan chose me to be third in that line behind him and Malcolm. Yes, it is true. I have been to Mecca all of those times. And it is also true. I did not find what Malcolm found. I have been 7 times. And I found racism among the white Arabs in Mecca so thick until you could cut it with a damn knife. I found ghettos in Mecca. I found that no matter where I went in the world, I found that no matter what the social, political, religious, economic, academic system was, it made no difference. Wherever the black-white dynamic existed, you'll find the white on top, the black on the bottom. I've been to capitalist countries as we are victims of white capitalism. And wherever the black-white dynamic exists, you find the white capitalists on top and the black capitalists on the bottom. If it's a socialist country, you find the white socialists on top and the black socialists on the bottom. If it's a communist country, you find the white communists on top and the black communists on the bottom. If it's a Christian country, you find the white Christian on top and the black Christian on the bottom. If it's a so-called Jew country, you find the white Jew on top and the black Jew on the bottom. Yes, I've been to Mecca, and where the black-white dynamic exists, you find the white Muslim on top, and God damn it, you find the black Muslim on the bottom. It makes no difference what the system is. Wherever the black-white dynamic exists, you find the black on the bottom and the white on top. Some of you say it's a class system. If it's a class system, then you'll find the white man as the upper class, and you'll find the black man and woman as the lower class. No, I didn't find what my spiritual big brother Malcolm found in Mecca. I found racism in Mecca. And I've found it everywhere I've gone throughout the face of the planet Earth, 196,940,000 square miles. I found it everywhere I went. Now, listen to...
Unfortunately. Yep.
Yeah. And I could keep going because he go for a minute, but he be going in. Y'all should watch that debate. I'm gonna send it to you because
I love it.
he go in on that white boy. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play just a minute more of the good part when he start really going in, but only a minute, and then we gonna get out of here.
What more? No, cracker. For Mandela to have one of the main things that rocked and shook the foundation of the world. I said that I did not support Mandela. I said I don't agree with Mandela. I said I believe that Mandela is one of the weakest ever to be in any leadership position over black. Jew El Reed, as they steal all over. That's why they call Rubenstein and Goldstein and Silverstein, because they stealing gold and silver and rubies all over the earth. For Mandela to have a truth commission and give them lay down on their backs, and reinforcement rolls out from between their legs. So shut down the military manufacturing center. I said, God damn it, we
bad.
kill them all.
Here we go, Cassandra. This is the part.
Hey, I love it.
Assad, he tries to attack the pyramids. He attempts to detract from us and attack our great accomplishments as we gave civilization to the world and all of the sciences and disciplines to the world. And now he attacks our heroes and our sheroes and comes right up in our face and disrespects us.
No.
I said, if we're going to be merciful, we give them 24 hours in South Africa to get out of town by sundown. I say if they don't get out of town, we kill the men, we kill the women, we kill the children, we kill the babies, we kill the blind, we kill the cripple, we kill the crazy, we kill the faggots, we kill the lesbians. I said, God damn it, we kill them all. He said, why kill them all? Why kill the women? First, why kill the babies? They're just innocent blue-eyed babies. Because, God damn it, they're going to grow up one day to rule your babies. Kill them now. Why kill the women in South Africa? I said kill the women because the women are the military manufacturing center. And every 9 months they lay down on their backs and reinforcement rolls out from between their legs. So shut down the military manufacturing center by killing the white woman. Why kill the elder crackers? The old crepit crackers in South Africa. How in the hell you think they got old? They got old oppressing and killing black people. Kill the cripple, kill the elf, kill them all. Kill the faggot, kill the lesbian. And after you kill them all, I said that
kill them again.
Mandela to let you know what he really knows about me don't know a damn thing. I said, then you go to the goddamn grave and dig them up and kill them a goddamn.
Do it again.
Because they didn't die hard enough.
There you go.
Ooh, I love that. Dig them up and kill them again. Oh my God, that is too funny. I love that. I could watch that all day. I'm gonna go pull him up now and watch it for the rest of the day.
Yes, I'm gonna send you that debate because he was debating a white boy. He was saying it to a white boy. So
oh my
yeah,
God.
shouts out to that brother. He said it.
He was coming there to do a report on him. And he got him. He tore him up. He let him sit right there and listen to the whole sermon. It was, boy, he was so uncomfortable. He just saw it. He was so uncomfortable. That's how they supposed to be around us, uncomfortable. We didn't make them too comfortable. We didn't make them too comfortable.
Yeah. Facts. So good luck to you and your American skin, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully it works out for you, you know. But as always, man, we have got to start. Oh yeah, we got no friends. I want you to remember, we got no friends. We all we got, y'all. And as always, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.
Peace, family.